The moment we've all been waiting for is here. The first episode of the Clone Wars final arc is finally here, and it's everything we could have possibly hyped it up to have been. The most recent episode is absolutely amazing. Go watch it first. There will be spoilers ahead, and you're not going to hear them without having seen the episode. That's an order, trooper. The most recent Clone Wars episode came with plenty of developments, from the off-screen start of the Battle of Coruscant to the unofficial return of Ahsoka Tano to the Grand Army of the Republic. In particular, there were two huge developments that we'll be discussing today: the division of the 501st Legion into 2 units, and the promotion of Captain Rex at long last to the rank of Commander. That's right, it's official. Ahsoka's more or less earned the rank of Knight, Rex has earned the rank of Commander, and Anakin still hasn't earned the rank of Master. Let's start by taking a bit of a look back at the 501st Legion. The 501st Legion was a brigade, a formation smaller than a corps, but larger than a regiment, composed of around 10,000 of the Republic's absolute best clone troopers. The men of the original 501st were handpicked by Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, who intended for it to serve as an elite unit, one that he could dispatch on personal missions as he saw fit. When Anakin was knighted, thus making him a Jedi General, Palpatine rewarded him with command of the 501st, which Anakin quickly became attached to. Under the leadership of General Skywalker and Captain Rex, the 501st saw action across the galaxy over the course of the Clone Wars, often alongside the 212th Attack Battalion of the 7th Sky Corps, the unit commanded by General Kenobi and Commander Cody. In major conflicts like the Battle of Christophsis,
Rex, you and your men follow me. Cody, battle positions.
Up to the front! Skywalker should have attacked by now!
Don't worry, he knows the plan!
What's our plan of attack, sir?
Follow me.
the Second Battle of Geonosis,
Begin the attack.
Jam their scanners. Droid poppers, ready.
Looks like it's working.
It won't last long. Bring up the tank.
the defense of Camino, and the Battle of Umbara, the 501st acted as a singular unit committed to a large-scale offensive, often working with other units and taking point in that regard. But, like all large clone units, the 501st sometimes divided to tackle multiple objectives as well. As a brigade, the 501st altogether was large enough to conquer your average colony world, and as the Republic was always short in clones, it was often split up for missions that didn't require that much force. Naturally, it dispatched squads or platoons for small-scale jobs, like the mission to Skytop Station for example. At other times, like for small battles, it dispatched companies, and one company in particular saw a whole lot of action. Torrent Company was the name of the unit that Captain Rex was officially in charge of, and it participated in a ton of battles. Most of the time when you see the 501st in the Clone Wars, you're seeing Torrent Company. Torrent Company was about 144 clones strong, a number that was constantly being depleted by mass casualties. In the Battle of Teth, in which Torrent Company and First fought alone, nearly the whole company was killed off, and Rex had the rather painful duty of handpicking out 140 replacements. That wasn't the only time either. Of all the units within the 501st Legion, Torrent Company saw the most action by far, always with Captain Rex leading the charge. Now let's talk about Rex.
The name's Rex. But you'll call me Captain or Sir.
Sir, yes, sir!
Our boy Captain Rex served as Anakin Skywalker's clone liaison, and thus the effective leader of the 501st Legion, but there is a bit of a problem with that. Until recently, he was just a captain, which is a solid 4 ranks below brigade commander, meaning that, rank-wise, he shouldn't have been in that position. We all know full well that he was qualified for it, and Anakin clearly did too. But yet, Rex never received the appropriate promotions. It is possible to make sense of this though. Officially, Rex was only in charge of the Torrent Company, which we mentioned earlier. We don't know who was technically the brigade commander for the 501st Legion or if that role was even filled for most of the unit's history. At the end of the Clone Wars, it was under the command of Commander Appo, but we know that he was just a sergeant and the highest up in the Battle of Umbara. So it can't have been him for at least the first half of the war. Regardless, there were definitely commanders in the 501st Legion. As a brigade, the unit contained 4 regiments and 16 battalions, all of which were commanded by clone troopers. Even if some of these positions were vacant, there's no way all of them were. So how did a commander come to effectively outrank all of them? The answer is Anakin Skywalker. Jedi generals technically didn't have to choose the leader of a unit as their clone liaison, though it usually worked out that way for obvious reasons. As we mentioned earlier, Torrent Company was dispatched independently on a frequent basis, and so it's likely that Anakin's first few missions with the 501st were alongside Rex and Torrent Company. Anakin would have taken a liking to Rex, and from there he probably made him his clone liaison, breaking precedent but technically not protocol. As Anakin's clone liaison, Rex would have effectively become the commander of the 501st. He was never officially promoted to that role, probably because Anakin considered it unnecessary or something like that, but he nonetheless ended up serving in that capacity anyway. For all intents and purposes, he was Commander Rex long before the Siege of Mandalore. His promotion in the most recent episode was a formality more than anything else, a formality that Anakin probably only went with so that he could make his loophole in the command structure work. And that leads us to our final topic of discussion, the division of the 501st.
Company! Attention!
Go ahead. They've been waiting to see you.
In the most recent episode, Commander Rex got put in charge of a unit of the 501st to be dispatched to the aid of the Siege of Mandalore. Included in that was the 332nd Company, a group of clones that painted their helmets in honor of Ahsoka's return. This 332nd Company appears to have been led by Captain Vaughn, or at least it was until the end of the episode, when the poor guy turned up dead.
I'm sorry, Commander.
Now, there's no confirmation of this anywhere, but we'd bet a decent amount of credits that the 332nd is actually Torrent Company. It'd make sense. In nearly all of those small missions Anakin and Ahsoka did with 501st clones throughout the series, the clones chosen were from Torrent Company, and if any one company was going to repaint their helmets to honor their return, you'd better bet it was them. It'd be poetic too, just as Ahsoka went with Rex and Torrent Company on her first real mission in the Clone Wars, the Battle of Teth, she'd be going with Rex and Torrent Company on her last as well. But the 332nd Company probably wasn't the only unit dispatched to Mandalore. You might have noticed that we said it was included in Ahsoka and Rex's assault force, and that was no accident. A company's only 144 men, after all, which is nowhere near enough for a siege. And furthermore, Rex wouldn't need a promotion to lead the assault on Mandalore if it was just the 332nd Company. Anakin could have sent Ahsoka off with up to a full regiment, which is about 2,000 clones and is a much more reasonably sized force for a siege. We'll see what happens to these clones as the arc goes on. The rest of the 501st would have gone with Anakin to Coruscant, of course, at which point Commander Appo likely replaced Rex as Anakin's clone liaison. If we take Legends into account, from there they participated in the end of the Battle of Coruscant, and the decrease in their numbers from the battle and from the unit sent to Mandalore was probably replenished by the wave of clone reinforcements that Palpatine released after the end of the battle. From there, the 501st was divided up again, as we know from Battlefront 2, and was shipped around the galaxy to participate in Outer Rim sieges. Revenge of the Sith takes place over the course of only 4 days after all. At the end of that period, the 501st would have been brought back to Coruscant under General Skywalker and Commander Appo, and from there they would have participated in Operation Nightfall, the assault on the Jedi Temple. So that's our look back at the 501st Legion, in light of the events of the most recent Clone Wars episode. There are only 3 more episodes left now. The end is finally approaching at last. What do you think will happen over the course of what's left of the arc? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments below.